Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I shouldn't even laugh. I shouldn't even laugh. But Italian football is dead. And I'll tell you one thing, Italian football didn't die yesterday. Italian football has been dead for the past 15 years. Oh my, the level of shame and the level of embarrassment that I have felt today, I will be honest with you. I've never felt this. And I'll be honest with you. I told you guys many times how, for me, the national team is the national team, and Roma is Roma. Like when Roma lose a game, I'm disappointed. I can't sleep at night. When Italy drastically produce these results, I'm a bit frustrated, but it tends to just water away with time. I will be very honest with you. It hasn't faded away. I feel shame. I feel embarrassed to be represented by these players. I feel absolutely embarrassed to be represented by these incompetent old twats that honestly, I give up. I give up. I give up. I mean, how is it possible that almost 24 hours after your third consecutive missed World Cup, nobody has resigned? Like, that is Italy. The Italian national team of football is the autobiography of this country. How it is possible that almost 24 hours after yesterday's embarrassment, nobody resigned is mind-blowing. And it's the reason why I'm very afraid to say that we haven't touched the end of this tunnel, of this well. We haven't. Because if you're serious, if you've got some dignity, Gravina, I'm speaking to you. The second yesterday's game ends, you go in front of the microphones and take the responsibility, take the blame, and resign. And yet, no, we're forced to keep this guy, and we're forced to hear this guy yesterday post-game go that somebody asked him, how do you explain that Italy has been so good on every point of view of sports apart from football in these last years? And this guy has the decency to go, well, because football is a professional sport and all the other sports are amateur sports. This is the president of the Italian Football Association that said these things. And I'm like, you are either under effects of cocaine or you are an idiot. You are an absolute idiot. You have got the decency 10 minutes after you've missed your second World Cup, third in general, you've got the decency to say, oh, well, football is a professional sport and all the rest are amateur sports. When in all the other sports, we're on the roof of the world. Sinner tennis, the volleyball team, the rugby team has improved a shit ton. In the Olympic medal, in the Olympic, the Winter Olympics, they did really well. Now you've got the young guy, I don't follow the Formula One, but the Kimi Antonelli, it's like 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old Italian who is leading with the Mercedes. Like, you have got the decency to say that all the other sports where Italy is massively successful in or amateur, and that your sport is professional. You're the amateurs here. You, these idiots that play this game, this rotten movement of football, that manager that doesn't even know how he ended up managing the Italian national team, Buffon, Bonucci, every single one of you are idiots who who have no competences, who are just living off their past. This is the truth. This is a country under every point of view. Every point of view. We can speak about every aspect of Italy. Every aspect of this country lives in the past. Every aspect of this country has got no dignity. Nobody in this country. Sports, no sports. Football, no football. Politics, no politics. Has the decency to say, I am responsible for this shit. I take the responsibility, and I resign. No, no, nobody in this country does it. I'm utterly shocked. But you know what? I'm utterly shocked. I'm utterly shocked because not yes, the fact that Italy aren't in the World Cup, but I am shocked at the fact that I haven't seen one World Cup with my country in it. Like, mathematically I have, because I'm 2005. So 2006 we won it. I was 1 year old. Do we count that? No, we don't. In 2010, I was 5 years old. Do we count that? No, we don't. And in 2014, I absolutely despised this game. I absolutely hated football, so I didn't watch football in 2014. I started getting into football around 2015. So I have not seen my country in a World Cup. And we were watching yesterday's game with the historic friends, because this is what the national team is about. This is what the national team is about. Like, watching games with your friends, with your bros, with your boys, like with the historical group of friends, a beer, a pizza, in a pub, in case yesterday's game, at the beach, with a big screen during the summer. These are feelings that in 20 years of my life I've never lived. And yesterday's game, the most embarrassing thing that me and my friends were speaking about was exactly this. The fact that we haven't seen and haven't lived these vibes for a World Cup. And that is what makes me absolutely... It made me a psychopath today. The fact that yet another World Cup without your country in it. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We were speaking, we were having this deep talk moment, like, shit, we've missed on another World Cup, and how basically we're closer to witnessing our first World Cup with our children on our laps than in our teenage life, in our 20s, drinking pints amongst each other. And that is absolutely scary. Like, we are so close. Well, not so close, but we're closer to living a World Cup with our children in our laps, on our laps, than during our teenage life. Like, I'm sorry, but the Italian football is dead. Italian football has been dead for the past 15 years, and nobody in this country wants to innovate. That's where the problem is. You know, you can speak for I've seen literally every pundit. I'm a very big fan of Carissa. I told you guys, if you're Italian, you probably know him. He's the guy, the historic intro before Italy game pundit. And I think he's very smart, and I completely agree with what he says. Like, the problem is that the problems that we're highlighting today of this system and of this movement were problems that people highlighted 80 years ago. And the problem here is that in these 8 years you haven't done anything. That's where the issue is. So you can sack whoever you want, because you need to sack everybody. Like, you need to sack everybody and completely bomb everything and restart, because otherwise there's no way out. But by moving out of this well, you need to do something. You need to act, and you don't act, because this is what this country is about. A lot of talking, very little facts. A lot of talking, very little action. We've said it. I've said it already so many times on this channel. I've said it. My dad told me. My grandfather, who passed away last year, was telling me these things every time we spoke about football. There are things that you need to change. And if you don't change these things, you're not going to get out of this. You're not going to get out of this. It's fucking crazy, actually. Because I remember that years ago, I filmed, maybe the OGs, if you're an OG here, you'll remember. I filmed a video with my grandfather. It was years ago. He passed away October of last year, October 2024. and it was probably 2 years before he passed away that I remember filming a video with him, kind of like an interview of understanding what an 88-year-old thinks and sees after having witnessed the golden years of Italian football, how he sees this generation, this system of football. And I remember what he told me like it was yesterday. He said, if you don't change, if you don't, favor reforms, you're not gonna go anywhere. Because if you don't, if you allow Serie A teams play football in the Italian league with no Italian players, this is the result. If you allow teams like Como, who are playing football in the Serie A without one single Italian player, these are the results. These are the results. If you allow Serie A teams to spend 30 million players on guys from Morocco, on guys from Portugal, on guys from Croatia, instead of growing a player from your youth setup, these are the results. Because how many of that money that you spend in useless players, because these players end up being useless for the entire system of your country, wouldn't it be better to save that 30 million on a completely useless player coming from another country and starting an Italian guy from your youth setup? It's the core, and if you don't change the core, you're not going to go anywhere. Carissa said another thing. He filmed a reaction video today. Another thing that has to be done, you need to reduce the teams in this league. You need to reduce the teams in the Serie A. How many useless games are we seeing year in and year out? How many shithole of teams do we need to see? I open my television sometimes. I had a fever 2 weeks ago. Opened my television, opened DAZN, Verona against Pisa, where literally in a game between Verona and Pisa, which not only is a shit show, there are like 2 Italian players, reduce the fucking teams in this league from 20 to 18, so that the number of useless games get reduced and you can give that time to the national team. It's embarrassing what this country has become in the football point of view. Because if you treated the football system like you treated the tennis system over the last 5 years, you would have won the World Cup this summer. You need to copy what you do, and you need to start from the top, because just like I said a few weeks ago, speaking about Roma, the fish stinks from its head. The Italian national team stinks from its head. So at the top, everything needs to be changed, but the problems root and delve deep down into the youth setups, into the football academies, because football coaches are paid shit. And if you pay a football coach absolutely shit amount of money, the guy doesn't coach. So there's a level of motivation, there's a level of infrastructure. Because playing in pitches in this country, and I live in this country, I've lived in this country for 20 years. I play football with my friends in some pitches that make you want to cut your veins. In terms of infrastructure, in terms of, I was watching I've been following Fiorentina this season, from the start of the season to now. One of the reasons why Fiorentina are absolutely shit because they play in that shithole. Imagine being a football player who is playing for your salary, for your objectives, in a shithole like that. You get depressed. And there is the amount of money that gets wasted, the amount of money that doesn't get spent well, the amount of I don't give a shit, let me scratch my balls, I don't care about innovation, I don't care about change. This is the result. Now again, I'll be honest with you, all respect to Bosnia, absolutely love that country, love the passion, love Dzeko of course, but I love the fierce that they put in yesterday's game. So absolutely respect to Bosnia. I will definitely be rooting. Bosnia will be one of the teams that I'll be rooting for in the World Cup. But all of this, of course, isn't a justification for you not to beat Bosnia. The Italian national team needs to beat Bosnia. But every single time It's this. In the Euro 2024, out against Switzerland. You know, losing to Macedonia and losing to Bosnia, but Macedonia and Bosnia, with all due respect, are not France and Brazil. So one time you're unlucky against Sweden, two times you're an idiot against Macedonia, third time this happens, you need to resign. You need to go away. You need to go away because there are generations, including mine, that haven't seen their country in a fucking World Cup. And that makes you want to cry. That makes you want to cry. Now, I think one thing that has to be said is also the players. Again, I strongly believe that these players had to beat Bosnia, had to beat Macedonia, of course. But there has been an incredible downfall of players. I've said it many times, people might not agree with me. This national team has only, first of all, doesn't have players that change games. They don't. And I would argue only Donnarumma changes games. But nobody in this team changes games. Nobody in this team changes games. You know, you don't have Totti, you don't have Del Piero, you don't have Pirlo, you don't have Maldini. Vabbè, we don't even need to speak about that. We don't need to speak about that because that's like digging for gold in your fucking dustbin. You know you're never gonna find that. That's a golden era. Golden era is gone, and it will never be like that. So there's no need to speak about Totti, Maldini, Del Piero, Pirlo. No, no. But you know there is a problem. First of all, these players are scared. Like these players don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. I saw a video this morning when I woke up of the Italian national team getting back to Italy, and there's a clip of Bastoni. There's a clip of Bastoni giving his footballing bag to somebody for him to carry the footballing bag for him. And I'm like, it's these things that you connect together, and these players don't give a shit. Like that the fact that these players don't give a shit, I think is so clear that you cannot hide it. The manager, what do you want me to speak about the manager? Do I think the manager is good enough? No. And I think anyone who thought that Gattuso was capable of doing this is, you know, doesn't know what Gattuso is. But on the other side, I go, just like I go with Roma, the problem is not the manager. Because just like Roma is sticking it to Roma theory, you've changed managers and you've gone nowhere. So the problem is not the manager. Of course, Gattuso doesn't help because Gattuso is not a good manager. And this is the other thing with this country. The other thing in this country is that you don't give spots to people who deserve it because you live off the past. Because Gattuso was a legend, because Gattuso is a charisma legend, you thought that giving the job to Gattuso was a good idea. You know, Buffon, incredible goalkeeper. Who the fuck thought Buffon, by being a good goalkeeper, would be a good assistant, a good motivator? Bonucci the same. Like, you pick names just because of their legacy. When if you are a good football player, it doesn't mean that you're good and competent to do anything else in the world of football. So, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I feel like Gattuso is the last to be blamed. And I'm very honest when I say this. I'm very honest when I say this because number one, I think Gattuso is the one who cared the most out of all. And number two, Gattuso went in front of the cameras yesterday and said, it's my fault. Because you treated him like a scapegoat. When, of course, it was his fault because he's not a good manager, as I said 10 times. But it's not him who needs to go, it's my fault, I'm gonna resign. It's that dickhead who's leading that needs to go, I'm not good enough. I am clearly not competent. I've completely dragged this nation in this sport, in the toilet. I'm stepping down. And you don't do that because you don't have dignity. Because you don't have dignity. Last but not least, I think that as a whole, there were two more things that have led to what this national team has become. Number one is that over the last few years, I've noticed this because, well, everyone has noticed this. What Italians speak about during football games literally doesn't belong to football, because unfortunately what has happened in this country is another reason is that we've given so much importance and such a role of protagonists to referees, and that's a problem, and that's another reason, because you've allowed football to literally be on Sunday, and this happens because, again, I live in this country, I've lived in this country for 20 years, never in my life before this year, last year and the year before, every single time on Sunday evening when the footballing weekend ends, the only thing Italians speak about is referees. And I noticed this in group WhatsApp, in WhatsApp groups with friends, under comments on social media. The only thing we speak about, and this is, I do it as well, because this is a cultural problem. Because this country never, the problem of this country is this, that in no aspect of this country do people go, I've been shit today. They always search for alibis. They always search for something to hook themselves on. And the importance that this country, not even the importance, the satanic importance that this country and these people give to referees on a daily basis is also another result of this. And adding on to this, the culture of simulating, the culture of, I've said it, the culture of time wasting. In 90 minutes of football games, the effective time is probably like 30 minutes in an average Serie A game. Because you waste time. Because you waste time and you waste time and you waste time, you don't play football. And when you're called to play football, something that you don't do because you spend 80% of your game lying on the floor complaining to referees, when you're called to play football, you're not able to play football. Because in this country, in the Serie A, you don't play football. You waste time. You complain. You simulate. So when you face teams like Bosnia yesterday, who are hungrier than you, who play football compared to you, te fanno un bucio de culo così. Un bucio de culo così. Because in this country you don't play football anymore, which is why I say football is dead. Football has been dead, because this is what our culture is. This is what our culture has become, and this is what our culture will be if things don't radically change, if you don't radically and now put reforms. Now, tomorrow is too late. Now, you need to put reforms in. You need to put laws, you need to put rules, you need to put restrictions on the amount of international players that you can have in your team. You need to do all of this now, because tomorrow is too late. Is too late. And I am massively pissed, not because we're ever going to win this World Cup, but because I, my friends, my family, my girlfriend, people like us cannot live a summer while watching a World Cup following our country, when I think that is one of the best things as a football fan that the World Cup does. We're forced to watch games without your country in it. And that is boring. All of this because of players that get overpaid. All of this because you've got people in this system of football that say that football is the only professional sport in this game, when you've got other sports where you're dominating everything in. So the other problem here, you know what the other problem here is? And this is, I put myself in it as well, is because generation is now way more attracted and way more attached to a Yannick Sinner than what than their footballing national team. And you can't blame them. You cannot blame them. Because these sports are 1,000 light years ahead of football. Because you've reformed them, because you've changed, because you've outlawed things, you've cleared and reformed, and that's the problem. That is the problem. So Italian football is dead, but Italian football has been dead for the past 15 years, and we've missed on yet another World Cup. The same problems that we're speaking of today were problems highlighted 80 years ago. What has changed? Absolutely nothing. And this is the reason why you haven't qualified for the World Cup. I'll catch you soon. Roma is back. I took a break. I know. I wanted to speak today because I know that a lot of people are interested in what an Italian thinks about his country not going to the third consecutive World Cup. Who will I be rooting in the World Cup? Honestly, I don't know. And I don't even care, because the World Cup is about cheering your team, your country. So not seeing your country in it makes you want to go, I'm just going to watch it. Whoever wins, wins. But yeah. Roma's back soon. So we're playing on Easter night, actually, which is very entertaining and interesting, in Milan against Inter. And yeah, I must be honest with you, this march of football has been something catastrophic on every point of view. Like what has happened in this march of football, Roma and national team combined, I don't think we'll ever relive it. Like, absolutely catastrophic. Yeah, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll catch you soon. See you more.